Hello YouTube, Mrs. D6 All Natural here, and I wanted to bring a small book review. I have read 4 books or I should say maybe 4.5 books in the last, well, I'll just say this summer because I had to wait for 2 of them to come out. The author is Carl Weber, and he is new to me. The first book that I read was, let me just go ahead and show them to you. The first one that I read was, let's see if I can get this, was Big Girls Do Cry, and it is a New York Times bestseller, author rather. And then this one here came out the 1st of this year. And then this one here came out September 1st. And this one is Torn Between Two Lovers. And then this one here came out August. And this was just not really part of the series, but just a pretty decent read. And this book has 2 stories in it, and I've only read one of the stories, which was a very good story. So I think the next story is maybe 11 chapters or 13 chapters. So when I read the other one, then we'll talk about that. But what I wanted to tell you, now if you decide to read these books, these 2 go together, okay? The Big Girls Do Cry being number 1, and then the Torn Between Lovers is number 2. But there is a book that came out, I think November of 2009, which is God, what is the name of that book? How dare I not remember? It is Something on the Side, and Something on the Side tells you where some of the stuff came from here. There were 2 sisters that had some drama going on, and it all kind of, it gives you a history if you go back and read Something on the Side. So I'd say Something on the Side, number 1, Big Girls Do Cry, number 2, Torn Between Lovers, number 3. If you read all 3 of these books, oh my goodness. Now this one I read in about 4 days, carrying it around like my purse almost. A girlfriend and I read them together, and it was quite the interesting. But what I wanted to just really come to you guys, I wanted to discuss the books. I've never been one to really read I guess fiction or black authors for that matter. And I mean, I read Song of Solomon, and that may be the only black book I've read by Toni Morrison. And I did buy her collection, just never read the other stories. But at any rate, this was a drama series, a very different twist from what I'm used to. I read more of self-help type books, more realistic books, are what I've always enjoyed. But it was nice to step out of the seriousness of life and just drama. Now, you know, I thought about it. I said, now if I knew a person who went through the things that they talk about in this book, I'd kind of be thinking, you loser, who wants to talk about that? Who wants to hear that? Yada, yada, yada. But when I say I enjoyed these books, oh my God, I enjoyed these books. They were they were well written. They were not perfectly written, but they were well written. I think his editors could do a better job with proofreading, or somebody could, but because there's a few little mistakes. But other than that, it didn't interrupt the reading. I don't know if I should tell you all the details of the books or what. I mean, when I say I enjoyed them, I really, really, really enjoyed them. Again, they were drama. Just to give you, I guess, a quick overview. Big Girls Do Cry was basically, there are several people, several characters. You have two sisters, Egypt and Isis, who have a situation where Isis' ex-boyfriend or ex-fiance ended up with her sister, Egypt, and then over time, in different situations, Egypt asked her sister to carry a baby for them, and it got messy. Okay, it got messy, along with the sister Isis coming to live in the home with her sister and this guy Rashad, who was the ex-boyfriend or fiance. So that was a very sticky, and I may just need to go back and do a video with each book. But that got sticky. Then there was Lorraine and her husband Leon and her best friend Jerome, and it was very interesting. And then there's a Michael that came into play. Lorraine and Leon were married, and Jerome was her very best friend, and Michael is a guy that ended up in the picture as Lorraine and Leon had trouble with their marriage and became separated for a time, and then Michael became someone that Lorraine started to see. The book kind of starts off with, like I said, if you go back and you read something on the side, there's a Big Girls book club. And the only rule is you have to be, I think it was, the only requirement, you had to be a size 16 or higher was the only rule. And so that's how these people came to kind of know each other and whatnot. So there was a lot of drama with those folks. So I'll go back and we'll talk more about that drama among those sisters. Oh my God, that was, I'm talking mess, okay, mess. Then there's Torn Between Two Lovers is where Lorraine and her husband Leon got back together, but she kind of held on to Michael. They kind of finished the story with Egypt and Isis in Big Girls Do Cry, so they didn't really carry over into the other one. Their problem was solved. So the Torn Between Lovers was to give Lorraine, Leon, Jerome, and Michael a chance to have their stories played out. And boy, oh boy, did it play out. The ending, I felt the ending was kind of thrown together, but we'll talk more about that later. So I'm going to pass that one over, and then I'm going to back up a little bit to the one, Something on the Side. Something on the Side, like I said, I count that one as number one. If you want to read this, I think you should start with that one. I didn't know that. I didn't know it was a series or whatever, because like I said, he was new. The author, Carl Weber, was new to me, so I started with Big Girls Do Cry, but I was so curious about some of the things that they mentioned that I went back and read the other book. Now, I bought these books that I've shown you, but the one, Something on the Side, I actually borrowed it from the local library, and so I don't have it here to show you. But when I went back and I read it, wow, okay, it gets the story started with Egypt and her best friend Tammy. It tells you, give you a little bit of history about Isis, who is Egypt's sister. It gives you a little bit of background about Rashad, who was the ex-boyfriend of Isis, or ex-fiance, and then ended up marrying Egypt, the younger sister. And then they have a cousin, Coco. Coco is off the chain. Let me just tell you, she is off the chain. Okay, you talk about a bold sister, a bold sister. Okay. So there's a situation of like I said, I have to do a video where we just break the books down, because oh my goodness, if I get into it, oh my goodness, yeah. But yeah, so it gives you a background of where some of the things that were mentioned in Big Girls Do Cry. It explains all that out, so it helps you out a lot. And then I think having Coco in there and the two men that she had, well, the two main men that she ended up with, to tell her story out, I mean, cold stuff, serious stuff. But like I said, Coco is a very bold sister. Okay, so that's a little quick idea of what those three books are about. And then this one here, the Carl Weber presents Full Figure Plus Size Divas by Brenda, Hamton, and LaJill Hunt. Now I haven't read LaJill Hunt's yet. That chapter is titled 7-Year Itch, and the one before that, the one that I did read, was titled Who You With, and it was by Brenda Hamton. Now I'll be honest with you, when I first started reading Big Girls Do Cry, I'm sitting in the car and I start reading this book, and I have not really read black authors. I mean, I know of them, but just didn't think I could get into it. But it was such an experience, because when I started, I was, I had this need to shake my head and read out loud, and just want to, it brought the sister out in me there, so it was kind of funny. Just, that was a side rant, I'm sorry. But Full Figure Plus Size Divas, this one was the first story that I finished was very good. It's about a lady who's 40 years old, and she's recently divorced, and her son is has just left for college, and she's pretty much alone. Her life she's found herself in a place where she didn't think she would be. Her husband stepped out on the marriage, and just kind of quit on it, and this was not a place she thought she'd ever end up. So she was kind of sulking, kind of alone, and all this stuff. But she meets this young guy about 26 years old, and he's dark and handsome and cut and smooth and sexy and ouch. And although she's going, hey, you're a kid, I'm 40 years old, and he's going like, no, Mom, there's a lot of ebonics on his part. But he's a sweet guy. Just, it's a tough relationship, but it just kind of goes through the course of their relationship and his life. He's a mover and a shaker, so it takes her a while to learn what that really means. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this video short. I'm at 13 minutes now. And yeah, I think I'll just come back and try and review the books in a little bit more detail. I hate to tell you about it, because I really want to encourage you to go out and read them. Now, if you're a person like me, you can tell me the movie and I'll still enjoy it when I go and look at it. But I know some people are not like that. But they were an easy read. They were interesting, to just, it's drama. It's some ghetto, well, I shouldn't say ghetto. I don't really like that word either. It's black. It's really black. That's the way I'm going to explain it. It's really black. So, but it was an easy read. It was a good read. It was very enjoyable. It was just a good read. So yeah, I'll come back and I'll break down each book, and we'll talk about them, or I'll talk about them with you. And feel free to please rate, comment, subscribe. Let's pick out some other books. Start a YouTube book club. But 14 minutes and 47